Toastmaster Ankur, are you creative? Are you creative? Toastmaster Ankur.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Are you creative? Raise your hands if you think you are creative. So, Srijan, what was the last creative thing you did?
Write a page of my diary entry.
Creative. And you, ma'am, what was the last creative thing you did?
Last creative of my day. I'm making reels in Instagram.
Making reels. And those who did not raise their hands, I take it that you think you are not creative. What if I tell you that all of you are creative? Remember the beautiful excuse you made to your parents when you came late from the party? That was creativity. Remember when you were making paneer butter masala and there was no masala at your home. So you added Maggi masala. You created a new dish. That is creativity. When you mix and match your clothes, when you had to go to a party or when you had to go to a date. That was creativity. When you shifted your furniture here and there to give a new look to your house. That was creativity. So we all are creative, aren't we? You know why? Because creativity is a fundamental human trait. We are born with it. How do I know it? Just few months ago, when my daughter learned to walk, I was noticing her, what she's doing. She wanted to grab a toy from a shelf and she was not able to reach it. I was observing her quietly. What is she going to do now? She went to the other room. She took her mom's platform heels and somehow she dragged them to the shelf, near the shelf, placed it, climbed on it and grabbed her toy. I did not teach her how to do this, okay? But she found a novel solution to a problem. That is creativity. And have you seen the kind of games that little children make up? We can't think of such games, but children do it. Have you heard the kind of stories they make? It's also creative. We are born with it. But then not all of us live creatively. Let's face it. As we grow up, we just lose it. Now, my question to you is, why do we need creativity? Anyone? Manya, why do we need creativity?
I think the rule of the world has been creativity. If man were not creative, he wouldn't progress. So it's stagnation and to move ahead we need.
Ma'am, you are confusing with procreation. So, why do you think we need creativity?
To use more of our minds.
To invent new things.
Invent new things. So, to invent new things, to solve problems, for these we need creativity. But creativity, okay, please tell, why do we need creativity? To be effective. Don't you think creativity goes beyond our professional goals? Some of you might think, I work in a bank. I don't need creativity. Or I operate in a toll booth. I work in a warehouse. I don't need to live creatively. Imagine someone gifting you a creative gift. Won't you feel better than when someone gifts you boring bags, cliche chocolates or pesky perfumes? Don't you love it when someone gives you something creative? Because creativity fosters self-expression. How many of you are in a relationship, married or girlfriend, Imagine telling your partner, I love you every day with the same tone. I love you, like a robot every day. You know what? They'll find someone better. They lose interest. But when you find out creative ways of telling that you love them, things remain spiced up. And when you do something creative, don't you feel so satisfied that I have done something? Your whole day is made the moment you do something creative. When a friend of yours holds a party with a creative thing, you look forward to go to it. The meeting today is so creative, and we were all looking forward to it, and we were all enjoying it. When our Jugalbandi players, the T-mods, when they were speaking over here, we were so looking forward to it. This is what creativity does. It makes our life worth it. It's the essence of being human. However, there are obstacles to creativity. Few days ago, I asked my family members, so I live in a joint family, and I asked all of them, can you take out your tongue and touch your nose? And they all started doing, you also try? Take out your tongue and touch your nose. Sakshar is able to do it. Come on, everyone, try. But you know what my niece did? She did, because I had asked to take out your tongue and touch your nose. Everyone assumed that we have to touch our nose with the tongue. But a 4-year-old girl did not assume. Assumptions. Assumptions are the first obstacle to creativity. Whether you have to find a novel solution to a problem or a fresh idea. Just like many of you assumed that you are not creative. You assumed that. There was a time when it was assumed that smartphones have to have those QWERTY keyboards and dozens of keys. Ericsson, BlackBerry, Nokia, all of their smartphones had dozens of keys because it was assumed a smartphone has to have keys. But Steve Jobs challenged that assumption. And Apple launched a phone with no keys, and it was a smartphone. That was the launch of iPhone 1. It was assumed that humans cannot fly. But Wright brothers challenged that assumption. It was assumed that cars are only meant for the most elite people. But Henry Ford challenged that assumption by creating assembly line, which drastically brought down the cost of cars, and common people like us could afford it. So I hope that you are going to challenge all the assumptions. Let me test you. Srijan lives in a 22-story building. But today morning, he jumped from his window. How come he's alive and not injured? Exactly, he jumped from the ground floor. See, you are learning. You have moved past the first obstacle to creativity. Let's talk about the next one. It's the year 1975. Kodak is on the top of the film camera industry. It's the leading. An engineer in Kodak goes to the board of directors and says, hey, I have an idea. What if we make a camera without the film strips? Here's my working model. Ladies and gentlemen, it was the first digicam of the world. But you know what did the board of directors say? It's cute, but please don't tell anyone about it. It's never going to work. So Kodak never ventured into digicam. And what happened? In 2012, it filed for bankruptcy. My dear friends, that's the second obstacle to creativity, judging the ideas too soon. And don't we do it often? When someone gives you an idea, or you get an idea, your first thought is, oh, this idea is impractical. It's not good enough. People will not like it. And then the idea is lost. What if we sit on the idea? What if we sleep over it? What if we experiment? What if we think all the possibilities that idea can do instead of jumping the gun and just discarding the idea? Won't this world be more creative then? So let us not judge the ideas too soon. Let's even experiment. However, there is a third obstacle to creativity which I can see lurking around every corner. Every nook and corner I can see that obstacle. It's so common these days. Let me share a story with you, a real story. It happened. Long ago, there was a scientist. The king called the scientist and said, "Hey, Mr. Scientist, this is my crown. Is it made of gold? You have to tell me. And if you're wrong, you're going to get killed." The scientist probably would have scratched his head because it was long ago. There was no way to test, but he knew the density of gold. So he thought, if I can test the density of this crown, I know the density of the gold. And if they match, the crown is real. But to find the density of the crown, what did he need? The volume of the crown. And the shape was so odd that there was no way, no formula to calculate the volume of the crown. He thought long and hard. There was so much pressure on him. He consulted his colleagues, his friends. None of them had any formula. He thought, you know what, let me relax. It's been a long day, I'll relax. So he made his bath, and when he submerged relaxingly in the bath, he saw that the water has come up. The water is overflowing. He got an insight. The volume of any object is equal to the volume of water displaced by it. And he ran naked in the streets of Greece, shouting, "Eureka, Eureka!" Meaning, I found it, I found it. My dear friends, this is the story of Archimedes, and the principle is known as Archimedes' principle. But what I am wondering is, what happened in those moments of relaxation? When he thought long and hard, and after a while when he relaxed in the tub, what happened? Any kind of magic happened? Yes. It's in those moments of disengagement of mind you get epiphanies or insights. You think long and hard about a problem and then you disengage. You will be amazed what kind of insights you can find. Oh, I'm working on this project and I'm not able to find the proper code for it. What should I do? Chat GPT is not being invented yet. What should I do? You think long and hard. Go for a walk without your phone. You have to disengage your mind. Or start doodling aimlessly in your notebook. Sip a cup of tea, looking at the sunset. Your brain will start working for you. In that moment, your brain will go into something called a default network, where it starts working for you without you knowing that. And in those moments, we get ideas, we get solutions. And what do we call it? Insight. Looking inside, insight. But aren't we bombarded with information and entertainment from all the corners today? You're driving in your car on your usual route to the office. You play the radio for entertainment. Or successful people like Sakshar would play a podcast or an audiobook. I don't want to waste time. Productive, yes. Or someone is going in a metro. They would be watching a YouTube video or a movie or reading a book if someone is like Sakshar. There's absolutely no time to disengage your mind. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Let us disengage. In those moments when we are not so-called productive, we find epiphanies. But these motivational gurus have brainwashed us into believing time is money, don't kill time, don't waste time. What if wasting time in a proper way could be a perfect opportunity to find new solutions to the existing problems or fresh ideas that this world needs? The problems like climate change, economic collapse can only be found with creative minds. And if creative minds are busy and engaged all the time, when are we ever going to find a solution? And you might think, I don't need all this. I don't need big solutions. Let me share an incident with you. And I'll go back to the first obstacle, the assumption part. So it's my habit. Anytime I have a problem and I call an expert, I like to test that person. So a year ago, I wanted to revamp my brand. So my brand is Oberai and it's a home audio brand. And I wanted to design a new logo for that. And I wanted to revamp the website and have new color schemes and new fonts. So I was calling brand consultants to my office almost every other day. And I always test them. I always order cappuccino from a nearby coffee shop. And what happens? When the box comes, they open it, they take the cup, they take the sugar sachet and pour 1, 2 or 3 sachets depending upon their taste. It always happens. I was looking for one guy. This person, he opens the box and he takes a sip, keeps the coffee down and then pours 1 sachet. He was my guy. I asked him, why did you take a sip before adding sugar? He said, I shouldn't assume that this doesn't have sugar. This was the guy who does not assume. And he got the job. And when I went to his office, I asked him, his name was Kashish. I said, Kashish, so how do you manage your time? He said, I make sure that every day for half an hour, I take a walk in the park without my phone. And that's how he found the idea about the look, the new logo of my brand. And my customers love it. It happened because one creative soul, he thought about it. So ladies and gentlemen, what are the 3 obstacles to creativity we have talked about? First one, assumption. Second one, judging the ideas too soon. Third one, not disengaging your mind. So let us win against these obstacles. Let us live creatively. And remember, we all are creative. We just need to live it. Back to the T-Mod.